A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Today we're going to take you on a trip across the money, spinning fast-paced and exciting world of sports where a lot of good things are happening. Of course, we'll talk on the show today. Spend a lot of time talking about the aftermath of the UEFA Champions League. The group phase is concluded as we now know the teams that have dropped to the Europa and the teams that have advanced to the round of 16. Of course, here at home, we'll talk about the start of the Nigeria Women's Football League. We'll take some reactions from some of the matches played yesterday. Also, on the show, we'll look at, of course, the fast approaching AFCON, that's the African Cup of Nations. We'll look at that. We'll also take a look at Beijing, of course, talking about the Winter Olympics. That's the outlook of the show tonight. We'll also take some reactions from some of the managers talking about the performance of their teams in the UEFA Champions League. As we speak, games currently going on in the Europa, some already concluded. That will form the basis for our discussion tonight to talk about both competitions, UEFA Champions League and the UEFA Europa League. All right, let me quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio while I wait for Austin to join me as we take this ride together. Bolu Money joins me now. Bolu, greetings to you. Thanks for being here on the show tonight.
Good to be here again. Like you already said, now we know the 16 teams and the Europa League getting more interesting now. They will start from round of 32 definitely, and the Confluence as well. Lots of games, but I think it's good to mention a kickoff from the Women's League. After 8 months wait, now the games are back, and as usual, now we are seeing lots of goals. Interestingly, lots of clean sheets and beautiful away wins. And the great Pelicans has lost heavily in the opening match. The defending champions Rivers just couldn't get a win. I think it's a good way to resume football back to our women's league. Hopefully, like they say, the men's league should start by next week Friday, and we'll get to enjoy football across all genders, either male and female. And we've seen loads of underage developmental sports. I think there's also an under-17 tournament going on present. So it's good time to support our sports. Hopefully, all these things work in line. I saw the Ashojoba Cup, can't remember her name, that one table tennis, talking about, oh yeah, she's won, I think, 6 consecutive times. Bosse. The question is, what next? What happens after that? Is it that she just win and we move on? So all this developmental, I hope we get to harness all these talents very well. So come next Olympics, or even if it's 2030, we can boldly say Nigeria will win 1, 2, or 3 gold medals. We got this time around, we got a few medals. We want to do much more. And the best way to do that is to making good use of all these young talents we get from all these sporting events.
All right, that's it. Okay, so we'll move on the show. Bolu has talked about progression. It's good to have progression, not just discovering talent, but giving them a platform to showcase what they can do, and also the ability to look forward and say, with this talent, with this player, with this athlete doing this, we should be able to win a couple of medals at big sporting events down the road. Athletes should not just perform well at a local tournament and fold their hands, wait for the next 2 years when the event will take place again. All right, so that's it. All right, Austin is here with me now. Austin joins in. Greetings to you, Austin. It's good to have you on the show again as we take this ride together.
All the greetings to you, Yemi, and of course our viewers from different parts of the world. It's good to be on the show.
All right, so let's just start the show. Let me allow you fire the first shot on the show. Let's talk about something that's going to happen in your hand next year, Commonwealth Games. A Nigerian has made it all the way. Let's talk about Stella Kingsley on the show, Austin, weightlifting. I mean, reminiscent of the times where you had Miriam Usman doing big things. Stella Kingsley is the one now, you know, doing great things for Nigeria. On Wednesday night, he put Nigeria's name out there by winning, of course, our first gold medal at the ongoing IWF World Championship in Uzbekistan. On the strength of that, she's coming to your end. She's going to be in Birmingham next year.
Awesome, you know, I mean, this is what we talked about when we were talking about the new sporting federation presidents that have been elected. I remember we had the weightlifting president talk about their plans for this year, talk about Nigeria competing in international competitions. And if you take a look at these feats, these are young weightlifters. So it's a good one for the country, particularly that it puts us in a good state as we prepare for the 2021 Commonwealth Games. And nothing beats exposure than this at this level. So shout out to the Nigeria Weightlifting Federation for ensuring first that our weightlifters get to compete at this competition. Because remember, back in the day, we hear talk such as funding is an issue and then they can't travel. But now they're able to go for competition. But we also said, let it go beyond competitions. Let's see more programs as regards talent discovery and development. We've heard of Kingsley now. After this championship, what's next? Particularly that she's gone on to win gold in the women's 49 kg. Now, find a way to keep the momentum going before next year, July, that she'll compete at the Commonwealth Games. That's very important. Let's not come back as, oh, she won't go, so she's fine. She's ready to go for the Commonwealth Games. And then not just end with competitions. Let's find a way to, bring up programs and initiatives. The president of the Weightlifting Federation has reached out to me and I said, look, we need to have you on the program, talk about what we need to do beyond attending competitions. And I think from there, I will take it. But let's say kudos to the weightlifters that have represented Nigeria at this international competition, and more respect and love to those who are winning medals.
All right, Austin, it does appear that we keep repeating our appeal to all of these people in the federations to do the right things. There's abundance of talent, no doubt. But then again, it just appears we're not able to get ourselves over the finish line because it seems after this tournament that there's a lull, there's a space, there's a void. And all of that ensures that these guys that we already know are talented don't get to put their best performance when it's needed most. And that's basically the problem. And, that's why it appears that every time we talk about an amazing feat from a Nigerian, we're always backing up the conversation with an appeal to the federation that's in charge of the athlete to ensure that the athlete is occupied, is engaged, so that when it matters most, the best performance can come out.
We won't stop, That's why we always talk about structure. We talk about deliberate planning. We talk about making policies and implementing them. And these policies should get towards development, so that we don't come back and we're saying the same things. But that's what we need to do as the media, with the watchdog to the society. And we will continue to talk about these things, particularly that this is weightlifting. We used to do so well with the sport back in the day. I think we started all of this decline from 2016, what happened at the Rio 2016 Olympics. And then from there to now, there's been a decline. But with a new board, that's why we keep saying, new federation presidents, come around, tell us your plans, tell us your goals, your objectives, so that we can hold you accountable. And I'm sure, Bolu, you would agree to this, because that Nigeria has the talent is not a discussion anymore. It is a way to build a structure, build a strong foundation that will keep the talent discovery process going.
Well, I think I agree 100%. Anyone that thinks there's no talent or there are no talent in Nigeria is probably living in a different Nigeria, because talent is definitely not a problem in Nigeria. For example, Stella Kingsley is young. She's very young, not just young. And in 2019 at the African Games, she won silver even in a younger category. Fast forward to the early 2021, she won gold. Now she has won at the International Wrestling Federation. It means Weightlifting Federation, sorry. It means she is growing step by step. And the only way to make sure she gets to a level of winning gold medal at the Commonwealth Games and possibly going better to the World Championships and the Olympics is to continue to make sure we monitor this young girl's growth and we give her every possible thing. For example, if the weightlifting they do in Europe or every other part of the world is flat, we need to make sure she practices with whatever they use that is flat. We can't give square pegs and put it in round holes and think when she gets there she performs magic. No. I still remember what Marino Quadri said, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that most of the time when they are done intervals, his oppositions have physiotherapists, guy massaging their calf and everything. But he's just there warming up on his own, getting ready for the next round. So we need to make sure these processes are well achieved. One thing is certain, someone like Stella Kingsley is a talent, a huge one. At her young age, she's doing so well. If you don't make use of her well, if another country gets to snatch her from Nigeria, Don't be surprised if you see her tomorrow winning gold medal at the Olympic Games. And it's also always a gradual process. So I agree 100%. Talent is never a problem in Nigeria. It is never a challenge. There are talents everywhere. But how do we harness these talents? How do we use them? How do we make sure they grow to the world level? That's the difference. For example, in table tennis, the rackets they use professionally, if you keep using normal plywood or what we call bats, you cannot compete with the best because you get used to that particular thing. Then when you go to the standard, you'll be surprised at the kind of rackets they are using. So I think everyone needs to work hand in hand, all the federations, possibly the state governments and the private sectors. And like I tell people, for a private person, you need to sell your markets to them. If you are not selling yourself, so we are selling yourself cheap, it could be hard to get in maybe endorsement or sponsor. So I think everyone, every Nigerian that loves sports, need to work hand in hand. And who knows, we may be the best African team at the next Olympic Games if we prepare very well.
I agree, totally agree. And the fact that Stella Kingsley is just 19, it tells you that we can still do more work with her. Not just Stella, let's find a way to also get, you know, to talk to our colleagues, persons who are also in our category. She's qualified for the Commonwealth Games. I said it and I'll say it again. Let's not say, oh, since she's qualified, we'll just fold our hands. More work needs to be done. I mean, let's bring the conversation back home now. We'll stay with the ladies. They are always making us proud. So let's talk about the Nigeria Women's Football League.
Yeah, that's our next port of call. Let's just quickly, we did it yesterday, but let's do it again. The results of the matches played yesterday, and we attempt a review of the matches played. Bolu has talked about quite a number, but we'll do that. On your screen, you have the results, Confluence Queens. Of course, Hamad, Pelican Stars. Bolu talked about that earlier. 4-0 was a surprise. You had Nigeria Ratels beating Oshun Babes 2-0. Adamawa Queens lost to Edo Queens 2-0. Then you go to the next group. FC Europa Queens started well, defeated Abia Angels 2-0. Delta Queens and Rivers Angels, it was a goalless draw. We'll take some reactions from this one later on. And Sunshine Queens were hammered 3-0 by also Queens. Bolu, let me just quickly get your thoughts. 6 matches played, a lot of goals scored.
Lots and lots of goals, and we got our first hat-trick hero, Mercy Omoku, for Confluence. He got 3 of the 4 goals, and we also got a brace from the Bayelsa game. I remember last season before the Super 6, Bayelsa were top of the table until they decided to break, and unfortunately for them, they couldn't do so well, and that was where Rivers Angels took all the glory. Lots and lots of quality goals for both halves. Normally, sometimes you see maybe all goals in the first half and nothing comes in the second half, but this time around, we're seeing goals for first and second half, and Robo was close to covering their game, but I have to get one out there. But again, they also started on the winning note. I think Robo Queen's problem or challenge in recent years has not been starting. It's been how they finish the game towards the end of the season. Yeah, consistent. So if they can be very consistent, and with the luck of the Super 6, it means you can at least put your strength till the end. That's what Rivers United did. Rivers Angels did last season. Put their strength, their everything into the end of the competition, and they won the Super. So good results for them. I think it was not a convincing start from Rivers Angels. The fact that they've been competing even before now. Remember, they played the zonal competition before qualifying for the to represent the WAFU at the CAF Champions League, and unfortunately, they could not win. I expected them to probably have the flying start. Unfortunately for them, they could not. But again, in the early days, they have 6 teams who still play the Super 6, and I believe they will bounce back later on. Juliet is one of the goal scorers for Bayelsa Queens, and Messi got a brace still in that same game for them. So lots and lots of quality game. And it's good to mention the Nigeria Ratels, the newly promoted team. There's nothing as good as starting with a win. As a newly promoted team, it helps your confidence knowing, okay, yes, we are here and we are here to start. Dumade Olamide got one of the goals for them in that game. She scored the first goal in the 52nd minute before they get in the second. Agama in the 78th towards the end to seal that win. Against who? Against Oshun Babes. I think Oshun Babes didn't start so well. They don't start so good. But I think we are in for a very interesting NWFL this season. One thing I always respect and hail them for, minutes or maximum 30 minutes to 1 hour after each game, the report is always available. Unlike the NPFL, where you start looking for maybe messages from each social media for all of them. For the NWFL, there are always a place where you can get all the necessary
and there are no conflicting reports.
No conflicting reports. You know, if it's official, it's official. Different media outlets may put out their own, but they have their own official that this is our match. But if nothing, you get the names of the goal scorers, the timings they score under. There's no better way to plan yourself than that. So I think you need to give kudos to both the organizers, the president, the chairman, and all the clubs competing. Some may not be there due to the restriction issue, but at least those that are participating, they are giving. we hardly hear any issues of violence in the women's games. Not that they don't have fans. I've been to their games before. I know there are fans who always want to watch, especially at least, I'm sure FC Robo in Lagos, there are fans who always want to watch. How they find a way to sort everything and make sure we enjoy our game. I wish we can start enjoying the same thing in the men's football starting from next week Friday.
All right. Every time we praise the ladies, we always find a way to tell the guys that they're disappointing us in a way. But I'm very sure they'll step up very soon. Let's take some reactions. That game that ended in a draw, Delta Queens and Rivers Angels. Let's take some reactions. We'll come back for more on Sports Tonight.
I know it's not going to be easy because this is my former team. I played for Delta Queens before joining the Rivers Angels. So I know Delta Queens very well. I know it's not going to be an easy match. So we came prepared for the game.
We feel bad, but anybody can miss penalty. Anybody can miss penalty. There is no specialist when it comes to penalty taking. The team played well. We played well. It's just that it was a draw game. But with this spirit, I believe going away, with this result, going away, we boost our morale more.
Great performance. It's a team that is undergoing a rebuilding process. And about 80% of these players are yet to test the Nigerian Women Professional League. So playing against a team renowned also as Rivers Angels that just came from a continental championship in Cairo, the girls have given a wonderful performance by my own reckoning. Penalties could be anybody's game sometimes. Or sadly, the girl who missed the penalty do take penalties in the course of a training session and scores it. So since it has happened, ordinarily being ladies, it could demoralize the player and the entire team. But in between, we try to psych the team, say, forget the penalty, let's get on. No doubt, if we have picked that first moment, that penalty, I tell you, our girls would have come more stronger. Maybe we would have gotten a second goal. It would have been motivational for us to score a second goal. But all the same, being the first game and playing against the champions at the moment is a good outing for us.
All right, no surprises. You know, that kind of a game you would always expect that was going to be tough. Two very strong female club sides in the nation, and you know, you listen to some of the players and the coach giving his reasons to why the game ended in a stalemate. And I'm very sure Austin has his thoughts as well.
Awesome, Yemi. Today, I did a throwback of the Nigeria Women's Football League, the Challenge Cup I covered in 2009, and I try to compare how much development the league has enjoyed, and I must say kudos to Aisha Falode and her team because women's football is enjoying some level of development. You know, back then, I think the Challenge Cup final then was Delta Queens versus Bayelsa Queens. Delta Queens won 4-0. In that team, we had Desire Okwara Nazir for Bayelsa Queens. And interestingly, Coach Dan Evumena, who is now coach of Delta Queens, was the coach then, and Coach Edwin Okon is still coach of Rivers Angels. So it just goes to tell you that if we all come together with the right policies, you know, and implement them, women's football will do well. I remember how Aisha Falode and her team ensured that the right financial regulations are met, and then teams get to register the right way. And you and Bolu, you've commended them on now they, you know, lead the way, show the men the things to do. And now we're beginning to see the result on the pitch. Match day 1, 13 goals. Take, for instance, Edo Queens and the way they've started. They recruited Coach Wemimo from Sunshine Stars. Sunshine Stars lost at home to Bayelsa Queens. Edo Queens won. Edo State, for instance, also announced that they've entered into a partnership with a private airline to be lifting the players. We can learn from all of these things and start doing things professionally. Yemi, I tell you, the women's game will improve, will empower the girl child, and it will draw more followership for women's football in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's what we expect, and hopefully other clubs will join. And, you know, although we must say, before we go on the break, we must say the challenge has always been for the private sector. We've not made it lucrative. And the truth that we have to tell ourselves, only states can own clubs. With the way it is right now, if we want to look ourselves in the face and tell ourselves the truth, you know, it's going to be very hard for somebody, private sector, because for private sector, if I'm spending 10, I have to be making 15. So that's the way it is. But we'll talk more about all of that.
there's a way we can package it and people will come to it. And they've shown us that they can manage it properly. So we can actually jump on that.
All right, we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, still so much to talk about on Sports Tonight. Join us again. All right, welcome back. Of course, there will always be a lot of time to talk about the women's league, the men's league in Nigeria, and hopefully we'll get it right. Talent not in abundance has never been the question. But let's talk about a bigger one now. It's 30 days to the next Nations Cup. It's going to be held in Cameroon. So the countdown has begun, and we're going to do that on the show. We're going to have a robust discussion around the Nations Cup, but let me allow Austin set the ball rolling. 30 days to go, and the question I've been asking everybody, are you feeling the buzz? A lot of people are talking about what's going on now with COVID-19, the variant. Nobody's talking about the football. The question is, how are we going to have this AFCON?
I pray we do, Yemi. I really do pray we do, because this AFCON has suffered a lot of setback, no thanks to COVID-19. And now we're hearing about the Omicron virus, the Omicron variant. So there's some sort of dark cloud around it again. You know, this is the pride of African football. We're looking forward to it. And we believe that is also an opportunity for the Super Eagles of Nigeria to give a go for the trophy. So, yes, Yemi, I share the same concerns that you have, but let's just pray that things get better. January is just here, January the 9th, you know. Just 30 days. The next time we'll be talking, it will be about 20, 25 or 24. And that's how, you know, time just disappears and the competition will come. But I love the fact that Cameroon has been given, you know, the approval that they can go on to host, that CAF is comfortable with the level of, you know, development they've done with their infrastructure, the stadium, for instance. The teams know their groups, countries are already vibing at it. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, they know their foes and are looking forward to competing at the competition. The biggest problem here is this COVID-19 issue. And you may remember we talked about it, that this virus has come to stay. We need to come together as a continent and find a way to, you know, deal with it. Cameroon, they've done their part, you know. FIFA is looking forward to this Patrice Motsepe and his team. They also want to use this as a model to see how we can build on developing African football. So 30 days to go. Yeah, me, Bolu, I don't know, but I just hope and pray that nothing touches this AFCON.
I do so too. Bolu, your thoughts. I mean, I'm speechless because I'm looking at all of it. The world will converge in Cameroon, 5 cities, 6 stadiums. The world looking at Cameroon. Second time we're going to have 24 teams. Last time was 24. And I enjoyed the number of matches. The quality of football that we'll see is not in doubt, because Africa's major big stars want to be at AFCON. But now the challenge is not even the structure or facility. The challenge is COVID. Well,
there was a report, I think, earlier today or yesterday about CAF saying they are not moving anything, that people should forget about moving. But again, the players are also concerned, because if you continue, so many players will probably may decide to pull out. And that may cause a rift between players, clubs, national teams, and FIFA. Remember, the FIFA statute is you must represent except you are retired. That's one of the reasons why Matip had to retire from Cameroon national team. Unfortunately for him, Cameroon went on to win the AFCON. So yeah, you have to look at left, right, center. Remember, England are blacklisting many nations due to the Omicron variant. And now there are some top stars, I think about 40 players from the Premier League that will be at the, either Premier League or England as a whole, that will be at the AFCON. And top of the list is Salah, Mahrez, and Sadio Mane. These guys, even Nigerian players and the Gea Nacho, these guys want to play at the AFCON. Why? Because their countries are the top countries in Africa. They believe they can win AFCON. If you can't call 5 teams that will win AFCON, you mention Egypt, you mention Senegal, you mention Algeria. To a level, I think you talk about Nigeria. So those guys alone have close to 10 or more players in the Premier League. So those are the concerns you have to think about. And remember, the club statement is still there somewhere. Cameroon's Lucisse statement about Liverpool is so. So there are already fights and arguments off the field. Not even talking about COVID. Now COVID coming into the question, when the players, if they end up coming for the AFCON, what happens when they go back to their club? How long will they stay quarantined before they decide to join everything? So there are many questions to be answered. I don't want, like Austin said, I don't want anything to move this AFCON. We had the chance to have played the AFCON this year. But while everyone was playing in the summer, we couldn't do anything. So we're back to the... I have no problem with January, February. I laugh when many people say Africa are doing things backward. No, there's a reason we play in January, February. The white summer is not our summer. The summer in Europe is not the same thing as summer in Africa. Africa during the summer is rainy season and it's not good for us. So that's why we play mostly January, February. So weather is not even a challenge. Unfortunately, we are thinking about COVID. Will this event host? I hope CAF, like they said, this event will host. But if they are staying true to those words, they have to find a way to liaise with the both clubs and the players. Because if it becomes a rift, the clubs pay the players the most. Yes, national teams, you want to win something for your nation. Like one of the Italians said after winning Euros, winning for your country is completely different from your club, but the club are the ones that pay the most. So I hope it doesn't get to a point where you have to choose between your national team and the club. So there has to be a settling ground where everybody will agree together. If you are playing this and if it means sending private jets to these players to take them there and bringing them back, we just want to enjoy AFCON. Like you rightly said, 30 days away. It looks far, but when the countdown continues, in a week from now, we reduce it to 23. In 4 weeks, we are talking about the AFCON. So we want to have a tournament. We want to enjoy AFCON, and I hope some of them are listening, all players, to be careful. Watch where you go, watch what you do. The AFCON is just about 3 weeks tournament. Just try to be cautious. And even beyond the AFCON, be cautious. Like Austin said, I believe we all can fight it if we do the right thing. So hopefully nothing bad happens that will make them postpone the AFCON again.
All right. Yeah. Something came to my mind. I was trying to share it with you earlier. There's no way we're going to talk about AFCON and not talk about the Gennaro Raw situation. It appears like the dust has settled, the technical committee report, and all of that. Nobody's hearing all that anymore. And suddenly we're beginning to hear Raw telling us some of the players he thinks will be at the Nations Cup. I just thought it was worthy of mention.
Yeah, I was trying to reach out to some, backroom staff of the Super Eagles and those working with General, but their lips are sealed, But we're hearing that the NFF, they've agreed that they will continue with the coach, which to an extent, I think it's reasonable because we've talked about bringing in a new man and making our time to acclimatize and all of that, So you see, I struggle to talk about it because I'm not working with the NFF, and if they feel that the man is not getting the job done and they have their ways, to get it done right, then it's up to them. But the AFCON is just in January, and then we've got a crucial World Cup qualifying round also. So they need to tell us more, with the media. They need to tell us more. We need to verify the information before we give it to the media. But news making the rounds. It seems they're going to continue with Coach Gennaro. Coach Gennaro's team, they're not talking. They're waiting to be sure that things are properly confirmed before, they put it out there. But Yemi Bolu, come on, it's no brainer. We need to be planning properly now. This is not the stage to start having distractions here and there. And Bolu, you might agree or disagree. Even if you tell this man, Coach Gennaro, to go, whoever is coming does not have an easy job.
Well, if Austin, who has all the connect, is struggling, I think I understand. Well, I think I agree to an extent. My take has always been, sacking Gennaro is not a problem. Is there a plan? If there's no plan, then why do you want to sack him? Because I believe it was more like trying to unsettle Roy if he would decide to resign. Because I said to some of my colleagues, then you guys are pushing an agenda that doesn't make any sense. If the news is not confirmed, it's not official. Don't let the fans, many fans were excited about the call of the sack. If you don't have any official report, I like that you are trying to be careful of something not official. But again, from the reports we're hearing now is Roy is staying. And at least it came at a good time where Victor Osimhen is back in training. Remember what we discussed over time, that so long he can train without pain in the eye socket or anything, he will be good enough to go. Fine, he's just started training with his teammates, yes, but the fact that he's on the field, training moving, I think it's good news for Napoli and it's great news for Nigeria going to AFCON. Gennaro now has the time to plan for himself. My take was, if you wanted him sacked, do it almost immediately. Let whoever is coming start planning ahead. But since we're going back and forth, I said to myself, we were not ready to sack him, so let's just forget about sacking him. You can set a target for him, win the AFCON, set the target, get to semi-final, set a target, whatever the NFL decides to choose for their target. But let there be a target and let's work with that. Like, let's see the KPI. Is it working towards it? Is he achieving what you said for him? Now we believe Roy is the one in charge. Like you rightly said, no official statement yet. But from where we are sitting, I think Roy is the one in charge for the AFCON. Now we can start planning. Now we can start thinking of, okay, some persons are saying this player. There are talks of Victor Moses coming back to the national team as well. Dennis Bonaventure is doing well where he is right now, winning the goal of the month and player of the month for Watford. What's the Cyril Dessers also won player of the month. He's also on the site. Chidera GK won player of the month back to back to back. So now Guerrero needs to think and explore. I think he needs to understand now that some players are not meant to be in that team. Luckily, AFCON has been extended to a 28-man squad. It means he has enough players to choose from. The AFCON will have a long way of deciding if Guerrero will be in charge of that qualifiers. If we don't end up winning and we play well and maybe we lose due to maybe one or two genius of the opponent, people won't really complain. But if we play badly and our results are poor, Nigerians will call for the head of Guerrero. So I think the AFCON is the target now. After the AFCON, we'll know if he'll be in charge. But again, even if we end up playing poorly at the AFCON, if we don't have plans of who will succeed Guerrero, we'll go back to square one. Because if you just sack this man and bring someone else, I pray we don't go back to where we left.
That's what I'm talking about, because we don't need the distraction at this crucial time. Anyway, Nigeria has been drawn in the same group with Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Egypt, and of course Sudan. Moses Simon is super confident that Nigeria can do at the competition, as he's speaking about the chances of the Super Eagles. Let's listen to him.
It's a thing of joy, proud, and especially my family are happy about it. It's not easy to play for the national team since 2015. So actually, I'm really happy, and whenever I'm called up, I would give my best. It doesn't matter which position I play. If any coach says, hey, I want you to play even a goalkeeper because I believe in you, I will stay in the goal. If we want to win, we have to fight together. It doesn't matter how we play. All what we just need is just to win. Of course, some will say it's easy group, but I think in Africa there is no easy group. Now every team is stronger, wiser. Everybody knows football now. Most especially even I would not call it small country, but some countries, they have a foreign coach that, of course, they can give some tactics to the teams. So I believe there is no small group, but all I know is we are going to qualify in that group. Actually, yes, winning is the goal, because the last one we were third. Of course, now we have to do everything possible to have a gold medal.
That's a Super Eagles player, Moses Simon, speaking about the chances of Nigeria, the AFCON. And Yemi, I totally agree with him. No small teams in African football again.
Yeah, that's true. Especially these days when Cape Verde and all these countries can be beating the Super Eagles. Of course, you could say we didn't play so well, but of course, it shouldn't be that bad. So, and we've seen with the Nations Cup that when you get to tournament proper, it's different. It's different because these countries, especially when you have your backs against the wall, these small countries will like, I have nothing to lose. You are the one protecting your reputation. You are the one claiming to have a pedigree, and that's why it's up to us. I mean, there are some countries when you lose to them, it's no shame. You lose to Egypt, people say, okay. But you begin to lose to Guinea-Bissau and Sudan, then there'll be a lot of questions. And you could understand the hunger when Central African Republic and all those other countries, you know, started beating Nigeria. But I'm hoping that Nigeria will do well at the Nations Cup. We can put all of this. I'm not particularly interested in whoever handles the Super Eagles. I just want to see the Super Eagles play so well. All right, let's move on the show. In the days to come, we'll talk more about the Super Eagles because time starts flying, like Austin said. Let's take a look at some selected matches in the Europa League and, of course, the consequence of some of the results. And that's it on your screen. You have Lyon and Rangers. It was a draw. Courtesy of that, Rangers finished second in their group. Sparta Prague and Brøndby Also, Sparta Prague winning that one. Real Sociedad doing so well in the Spanish league. They've come down a little now, but 3-0 victory over PSV Eindhoven. Stormgrass and Monaco was 1-1 draw. All of these games have been concluded. Napoli and Leicester. Wilfred Ndidi wasn't the game, but of course they lost. Napoli won that 3-2. Fenerbahce and Frankfurt 1-1. Royal Antwerp and Olympiacos. Royal Antwerp won by a long goal. And Fenerbahce and Frankfurt, okay, and then 1-1. Then Spartak Moscow also won their game. And some matches are currently going on. We'll give you updates as to the ones currently going on. And it does appear it didn't end well for Leicester City.
Well, what a bad ending. Remember in the first game against Napoli, they were 2-0 up. Fortunately for them, they drew that game. This game, they were 2-0 down, came into the game, but they still ended up conceding. Now they're out of the competition completely. It was so bad that we had Nigerians in 3 teams in that group. Sparta Moscow, Victor Moses. Napoli, we have Mosimen, and in Leicester City, we have 3, Ademola Lookman, Ndidi. So it was more like, who are we going to support among them? But at least whoever progressed, we switch our attention to them. But we would have loved to see Leicester City do more. But their recent run of form has been poor, even in the Premier League. So maybe this distraction of the Europa League could help them get back to their best in the Premier League. But again, Napoli did what they needed to do. They fought hard. Yes, the loss could have taken Leicester City through. Yeah. But unfortunately, the win for Sparta Moscow away from home to Lechia Warsaw made sure that Leicester City did not qualify. Right. So they're back to their focus in the Premier League. Maybe they can get back to home.
All right. I've just been told that we have to wrap up in a few minutes. Let's see what we can do. Let's take a look at the teams that have progressed to the round of 16 in the UEFA Champions League. Austin will quickly run through that for us as we prepare to wrap these up on the show. A quick one, 16 teams in that. Austin, any surprises?
Of course, yeah. When I read out these names, wait to hear the name Barcelona, and I won't call it. Teams that are through to the last 16: Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, Ajax, Sporting Lisbon, Real Madrid, Inter Milan. It's a round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. There's also Bayern Munich, of course, Benfica, Manchester United, Villarreal, Juve, Chelsea, FC Salzburg, and Lille. No Barcelona. I don't know. Barcelona dropping to the Europa. All of these days with football, nothing surprises me. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah, that can be true. But with Barcelona, you still expect this. But I thought they would struggle after Messi left. Even with Messi, they've been struggling. But I thought, well, a struggle could be a gradual process. But I didn't know it was going to be this. But Barcelona scored just 2 goals in the Champions League. 2 in 6 games, and they conceded goals back, front, center, lost 3-0 3 times in the group stages. It's very, very bad for Barcelona right now. And other Spanish teams struggled a bit. Apart from Real Madrid, Atletico needed an away win to progress. They did. Villarreal needed an away win to progress. They did. Barcelona needed an away win to progress. Unfortunately, they lost hard. Now they're in Europa League, where it's even tougher. When the Champions League will be playing round of 16, they will be playing round of 32 in the Europa League. And you know, in the Europa League, you can be Champions League, you are still in close proximity with your opposition. You can be in England playing a team in Spain or France. But in the Europa League, you can be in England playing a team in Israel. It shows how tough that competition is to travel left, front, center, back and forth. But again, the struggle would continue for them, because I told some Barcelona fans after they won the Barcelona derby and beat Villarreal, they were excited about the result. But I told them something is still wrong in that team, and if they don't fix it, Xavi may have the same problem Koeman had.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens. For the first time in about 21 years, they are back to the cadre they weren't playing at. That's the Europa level. Let's just quickly tell you that China, the Olympic flame was displayed at the Beijing University, despite the fact that a lot of countries are staging a diplomatic boycott of the games. So that's it. China going on with plans for the Winter Olympics. That's the much we can take on the show tonight. Time flies when you're having fun. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Before we go, I want to thank Bolu Amoni for his time on the show.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. So that's the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed all that we were able to do. We also want to thank you for allowing us into your homes, despite the fact that we didn't knock. We just came into your homes, and I hope that you enjoyed all that we did today. From the city of Lagos, right here in Nigeria, I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
again tomorrow in London. I'm Austin Okonapan. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.